So there definitely had to be two shooters involved. So there definitely had to be two shooters involved. So there definitely had to be two shooters.
Do you think there was more than one shooter? There's three shooters. Definitely. Do you think there was more than one shooter? There's three shooters. Definitely. Do you think there was more than one shooter? There's three shooters. Definitely.
I'm no genius or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure 2 and 3 are more than one.
So there definitely had to be two shooters involved.
You know, listening to these young women here, these young eyewitnesses, I tend to believe what they're saying. One saw at least two shooters, another said 3. Well, the reason why I do believe this is because the school had an active shooter drill that day. Okay? Now, this witness that we have here, the young lady that stated that she said definitely 3, also stated that the Army men were there. The Army men, would have been there. Because during an active shooter drill, men from the U.S. Army Civilian Affairs Psychological Command come into the school to run these active shooter drills. So therefore, yes, the Army would have been there. I find it quite interesting that a mass shooter would pick a day when they had Army men at the school. Okay. Other question is, with all these highly trained Army men, they could not stop 17 people being killed? We must have a shitty-ass army. It's all a joke. It's all a joke to them. They're so blatant, right in your face, how obvious it is. And they laugh at the fact so many people out there can't see it. But, I'm angered by the people that can see it. Because they don't seem to care enough to say no. No more. Stop it. We know where these Army men came from. They came from the Martinez Army Reserve Center in Perrine, Florida. The 478th U.S. Civilian Affairs Psychological Command Unit. I'm going to show you a video here of them themselves, that particular unit, explaining how they deal with the local fire department and EMTs in running these active shooter drills. We have the information of who these people were that put this whole drill on. Okay? We know the media that lied to us. We know all the officials that lied to us. This is all the evidence. It's time we do something about it. But take a listen to this video. See if I'm wrong. I think you might find that I'm right.
Are yelling at us to keep focused and pay attention ahead, the Army people?
Gunshots.
What is that? Hey, did somebody get shot?
An active shooter enters the Martinez U.S. Army Reserve Center, shooting at every person in sight. But today, Army Reserve soldiers and law enforcement team together in a training event.
Hear me, man? I can hear you.
And reacting to an active shooter at a workplace.
They learned what the role was of the local police, how the police and the local fire department would react, how they would react, what they should do. They learned how easy it is to become disoriented. They learned that our buildings are not marked. If fire rescue should have to come in and play a role in that. So the soldiers did learn what to do, and also they learned what not to do.
Okay.
Sergeant Smith here at the 478th CA Battalion had done an amazing job in coordination. Coordination and planning is key.
As the battalion anti-terrorism non-commissioned officer, organizing an exercise like this is important.
They learned a lot. They learned a lot from this training. They never had a real active shooter full-scale event before, so this brought realism to and validation for the whole event. I mean, doing a PowerPoint slide is one thing, But when you got a lot of blanks going off and the responders doing their thing, that kind of drives it home.
Reporting from Green, Florida, I am Sergeant First Class Andy Yoshimura.
Actually was in the bathroom at the moment, and I came back to my classroom and I knocked on the door, and the fire alarm went off, and principal came on the speaker and just said, everyone needs to evacuate right now. So that's what we did. As I was going down the stairs, I heard a couple shots fired. Everyone was freaking out, saying that it was a gun. And as we were walking, the whole class together, I actually was speaking to the suspect, Nick.
So she was actually speaking to the suspect. Now, if the shots are being fired, how is she speaking to the suspect? If the suspect is the one doing the firing, and she's speaking to the suspect, then who the hell is firing?
Cruz. And as I was speaking to him, he seemed very, I don't know what the word I want to say is, but he was trouble in middle school, so I kind of joked to him about it and said, I'm surprised you weren't the one who did it. And he just,
I'm surprised you weren't the one that did it. Because how could he have done it if she was with him and the shooting was going on?
gave me a huh. So that's really what happened.
You were walking down the hall, he had already fired at that time.
Yes, sir, with him.
Weren't you scared?
In the moment I wasn't, because there was obviously definitely another shooter involved.
Another shooter involved. So at the time, she didn't know this guy shot. Apparently this guy didn't even know he shot. So, if Nicholas Cruz wasn't the one doing the shooting, who was?
Oh, you think he was not the only one?
No, definitely not.
What?
Definitely not. This is the second time we've heard a witness state definitely not one shooter.
Why do you say that?
Because when shots were fired, I saw him after the fact. So, and the shots were coming from the other part of the building. So there definitely had to be two shooters involved, I believe.
So we see there definitely more than one shooter. I think it would be an important detail to find out who this other shooter is. It's just me. I don't know. Maybe others out there also would like to know who this other shooter was. You know, the scary thing is that so many people believe what they're told by the mainstream media. They believe the lie when it's so obvious what went on here. We have a situation where the high school planned a drill for that day, an active shooter drill. We have a highly trained U.S. Army Civilian Affairs Psychological Command unit. Their job is what's called PSYOPs. Okay? Well, they came to this school to run an active shooter drill, and they actually were able to convince even the schoolgoers that this event really took place. Of course, with the help of so many other teams, you know, this U.S. Army Civilian Affairs Psychological Command, well, they have units that have mannequins, they have units for fake blood, to even make people look like they have scars and bullet holes on their faces and legs and everything else. Okay? When we're talking about the PSYOP people, this is their specialty, conducting psychological operations. Our U.S. Army is actually pretty good at this. They can run into different communities, different areas all around the world, and change the way people think. Convince them to get behind this dictator or that president or whatever. That's what they do. So convincing some high school students that some crazy kid went around shooting during their drill is not really hard for them. Okay? You got a lot of young, impressionable minds, ripe for brainwashing, and then you have the PSYOP guys come in and, well, do what they do.
All the kids to go outside so they could start shooting up. So they started shooting.
So what she said here is they told everybody to go outside so they could start shooting up. Okay? They, meaning more than one, right? Now, why would they be shooting up? Well, because when the U.S. Army Psychological Command runs these active shooter drills, they use blanks and they shoot up into the air.
From the first floor up, because there's only 2 exits in the freshman building, so everybody started running to the other exits, but that's when the other shooter started coming up. So everybody, and then I thank God to this teacher who opened up her door and let all of us in. She got shot in the arm trying to open the door, and then the other teacher, he got shot in the head trying to cut the other students, and it was like an hour, like it felt like years waiting for them. And then after all that, we finally got out, and like they started yelling at us to keep focused and pay attention ahead, the army people, because they didn't want us to see the bodies.
The army people. The army people. Like we just showed you. The U.S. Army Civilian Affairs Psychological Command runs these active shooter drills. This high school had a active shooter drill that day. So the Army was there. And listen what else she tells. She says the Army people were dragging bodies and throwing them into a room and throwing mats over them. Of course, we know this is not standard practice when somebody's been shot. If somebody's been shot, anybody with any kind of law enforcement training knows not to touch the body, not to touch the blood, not to touch anything. It's a forensic site. You need to forensically examine the whole entire thing. So, come on, people. Get a clue. All right? U.S. Army people that are there to train people about drills understand what goes on when a body is shot, because they have to relate that information to whoever they're training. So why would they be dragging bodies and throwing them into the corner? Unless they, had some mannequins out there and they didn't want the kids to see that they were mannequins if they were too close. That sounds more like what would really have happened. But anyways, I digress.
They hid into the corner. They were putting mats over them so we wouldn't see them. But there was dust all over the floor from this weird thing they threw in there. They're trying to. So you think there was more than? Do you think there was more than one? There's 3 shootings. Definitely.
3 shooters, definitely. That's it. I had enough. If people out there can't get pissed off enough to say, we got to stop this shit, all right, what do you want me to do? You want me, what do I got to do? Go to one of these psychological command units with a baseball bat and just start swinging away? I'll do it. I got Blizzy over here growling. She's ready to rock and roll. See how you hear her? We don't play. So, you people out, Blizzy, she's fired up about this. Anyways, Blizzy, calm down. We're going to get these people. Relax. Blizzy's all fired up. I'm fired up. But one way or another, with or without you, I'm getting these motherfuckers.
Large police presence here at the hospital as the suspect here.
Yo, what suspect?
Hospital here.
Where is he?
Taken care of in the hospital there, and then the questions will begin, the interview process, and
where is he?
Figure out exactly what led.
There's nobody on that.
We have multiple fatalities here.
Are you fucking kidding me?
There he goes. He just went from the back of the ambulance on the gurney and into the hospital.
Bullshit, there was nobody on that.